drums, I would start off by, I'll tell you what, let me just open my drum bus setting, because drum bus, and then I'll go through what I use. So Pro Q3 at the beginning, let's solo this on its own, and let's have a listen. Pro Q3, just great visual thing as well at the beginning, so you can see what's going on, top and tail in it, making sure there's nothing going crazy. And then after that, Empirical Labs, Fatso SR, which is similar to what I do with all my drums. So I still use this even on mixing, and this is just to add the character. I really love the character of this one. There's plenty on there. There's the Logic ones, you can use those. You can use a Logic compressor like you could with the other one. But I can put that later in the chain. So, and then I've got, again, I think I covered this in the other video, where I've got an inflator, so you can just sort of boost the perceived loudness. And then that's boosting that. It's getting a lot louder, so what I'll do is I'll just turn the volume of the channel down a second. And what I've got there is a trans mod, but I'm going to replace that with isotope transient shaper. The thing with plugins, like hardware, anything, they've all got their own characteristics, they've all got their behaviors, they've all got different types of they're like your toolkit, you know. It's like having a car garage and having a certain tool for a certain part of the car and things like that. It's the same with this, same with audio. You've just got to remember what tools are used for where, and after a while you get used to knowing what it needs. So if the mix of the drums were really dull, I would use certain tools to get that, really bring out the presence and things like that. Or if the drums were like real washy and they were just going to mat the mix, I know you're getting into the territory of production, but at the same time, it can really help you when you're mixing. So one thing I've started using a little bit is this multi-band transient shaper by Isotope. It's really cool. It's got like a function. So if I say, for example, the drums were not quite, the transients weren't quite pushing through enough, what I would do is I'd put this on. If I press play on this bit, let's just have a look. See, it looks like there's more going on over here. So, and you've got your 3 bands across here. So I could move the bands, the crossover points. So you can change your crossover points from your low, mids, and highs. And if I listen to this and I think, right, which areas need affecting, it's got an automatic learn button on here, so you can, when you hit the learn, it actually finds the frequency bands and tries to divide it up the best it can between the 3. So if I press learn and press play, you'll see these parameters move here. And then once it's happy with where it's found the areas, it's put them in there. And what you can do is you just toggle these on. There's a solo, so I could just listen to this area on its own. So what I'm going to do is just make sure this is all as standard. So I'm just soloing this, listening to the top end. And then this acts like a transient shaper, but like a multi-band one. So if I was say to, I wanted to emphasize the release and the sustain and release on this, what I could do is I could have it smooth, and if I raise this here, I'm raising up the release on the actual frequencies here. Listen. Or if I went the other way, you could actually reduce it, so you're bringing the release down like an envelope. And then at the front, it's the attack. If I play that all together, if I unsolo that, you'll hear that it's now brought the hats out. All the things, everything above 3.7K. You'll have noticed the difference in volume because I just brought it down a bit so it didn't clip on its way out. But oh, there's a mix there, so what I can do is mix it. And if you notice how the hats will just poke through a little bit more, to really emphasize that. So if the hats were really dull, I mean that's extreme so you can see it and hear it, but that just sort of brings it down. And I'll do the mid-range as well. So you can really hear that like scrape come through, and it shows you a visual of the waveform as well, what it's doing to it underneath. And then the kicks, the low end, I sometimes use this, but then I sometimes use low end balance, but it's very, very difficult to get your low end. It's easy if it's just a kick, or if it's like a mid sound bass, but when it's lows, you've got a big sine wave or you've got a sub under there, it's very difficult to give it shape it as quickly, because it hasn't quite got the you have to be careful because you can overdo it and it just sounds terrible. So I'll just do an A and a B. You've got precise, balance and loose. That's the settings. I always keep it on sort of precise if it's fast dance music. I'll A and B this, see what you think. Again, just try not to change the feel of the track too much, but if there is something that you think, oh, that should just cut through, I really like that. And then what I would do is, after that, I would put it into the D16 decimart, which again gives it more perceived loudness and bite. So if I was to bring this into the right way. And then after that, I would probably use the invisible limiter or any limiter out of Logic or FabFilter Pro L or whatever limiter you wanted. This is just my go-to. So this actually what I'll do is I'll go to we'll try the Logic one Dynamics limiter just because you guys have got it. Yeah, so mode precision. And what I would do is on my output level, I would just drop that by 3 there. Let's have a look. I'll push the gain up. You can see the 0.9 reduction on there. When the reduction's there, you know that it's doing its job. So one thing I did notice is now I've limited it and compressed it and everything. Well, limited it. It's definitely poking too much through the top, so this is way too much, but so I'll bring that down. And if it's still too much for me, what I'll do after that is then I'll put an EQ, stereo EQ on here, have a look at the waveform. You can see there's a transient there. That 5K, I'm just going to nip that in the bud with a dynamic. Like this. And if it's still too much on that, what I'll tend to do, or if there's a lot of sibilance, I'll go straight to soothe and use this. And there's a setting in here which is my go-to, ear friendly on tops, or there's the other one which is the drums one, which is matte cymbals, which really sort of takes the, you know, it makes the cymbals matte sounding. So but be warned, if you're using soothe, always, you know, you always might have to EQ afterwards. So yeah, that's pretty much how I would, let me put that after, there we go, that would go at the very end. And then I would mix my levels at the end once I've got everything right. Just wanted to let you know these videos are absolutely free. It's a 5-hour tutorial series, and that was one of the parts. So thanks for watching. If you would like to join the journey, subscribe. I've also got a playlist where I travel the world, and I also document it. I do vlogs, and the weird and wonderful world of a touring artist, the highs and lows and everything like that. So if you want to see that as well, I'll put a link below. But also the educational stuff, the mixing and mastering services are also in the description below. Thanks again for watching. Your subscription means a lot to me, and keep creative, keep making the tunes, keep pushing on, support each other. Much love. GAWP out.